Breaking news, a WRAL bus crashes into a tree. 2 people now injured. What we're learning from this investigation. Felony child abuse charge. A former daycare worker will be in court today after being accused of fracturing a child's leg. What we're learning about the incident.
Blue skies are here and warmer temperatures on the horizon. I'll show you when our highs reach the 80s and when we could see even warmer temperatures next week.
A child care provider charged with breaking a child's leg is due in court in just over an hour. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Chris Levingood. Thank you so much for joining us. And right now, this happened at a KinderCare daycare center back in August. Let's bring in WRAL's Carly Haynes. She is live outside the Wake County Courthouse. Carly, kind of give us a recap of the case against Ashley Torres.
Well, Torres is currently in jail under no bond, and according to these court documents, the incident happened as Torres was having one of her students sit down with their legs crossed. She's now facing a felony child abuse charge causing serious injury. Her arrest warrants say this happened August of last year. Now, she's also due in court today for a separate case involving child abuse. Court records show she received a citation for an incident on November 5th. At the time, the citation also lists her employer as KinderCare. We did reach out to the company for a statement. They said in part, at KinderCare, the safety and well-being of the children in our care is always our top priority. Ms. Torres is no longer a KinderCare employee. She has not worked in our center since October 2025. It went on to say they didn't do it sooner at the direction of state officials. We also saw that in January, Torres sued the Department of Health and Human Services after she received a written notice that she would be discontinued from providing child care. A judge has delayed that civil suit pending the outcome of her criminal charges. Carly Haynes, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
I'm Laura Levine here in the WRAL Live Center right now. A WRAL bus crashed into a tree here near Edwards Mill Road. We have Sky 5 flying over the scene where you can actually see crews are working to pull that bus that crashed away from the tree, trying to clear the scene here. Again, this happened on Park Lake Avenue, right outside of an office building here near Edwards Mill Road. So Raleigh police says they got the call around 10:40 this morning. When they arrived, they found this, the bus into the tree. 5 people were on board. We know 2 people were injured. They had to be taken to the hospital, but they are expected to be okay. Right now, we are asking Raleigh police how exactly did this happen, working to gather more details.
Well, there was a large scene on Pole Road this morning around 9 o'clock, and Sky 5 was above this scene in Raleigh when fire trucks were outside a home that had smoke rising from it. We are working to learn more about this situation, if anyone was inside the home, and whether there are any injuries.
The morning got off to a chilly start, but 80-degree temps are making a comeback. Let's check in with meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner. Elizabeth, I understand next week we could even make it to 90 degrees.
Yeah, it would be the first time this year, but it definitely looks like it's a possibility. We take a live look at what's happening outside. It was definitely a chilly start this morning, and it'll be a cool afternoon. That's not keeping anyone from heading out to Dix Park, out to the Gibson Play Plaza. Lots of people out there enjoying this weather, but it's only 55 degrees. That sunshine always makes it feel a little bit warmer than that, though. A jacket feels comfortable out there. Our wind is coming out of the north at 5 miles per hour right now. As we get into the day tomorrow, it starts to shift to southerly and then southwesterly and really warms things up for the weekend. Right now it's 54 in Roxborough, 55 in Durham, and 59 in Fayetteville. And this morning we dropped down to 32 in Durham and Raleigh. It was 30 in Pittsboro, 36 in Fayetteville, 28 in Lewisburg, 34 in Chapel Hill. So it was a cold start out there this morning. Of course, temperatures have started to warm up nicely. We're in the mid to upper 50s now. We should climb into the upper 60s for this afternoon. And it won't be nearly as cold overnight last night. Farmers were definitely on high alert last night, watching those strawberry and peach crops to make sure that the buds were not hurt. Here's what comes next. We have a cold front that'll start to drop in on us, but it's not likely to bring any rain. We have the drought monitor that came out, and it actually worsened across parts of the region. We're going to check that out in a few minutes. Dry conditions mean a nice weekend, though. We'll see highs in the low 80s. Another thing that happened this morning was Colorado State put out its seasonal forecast for this upcoming hurricane season. I'm going to show you whether it's above or below normal coming up. Elizabeth, thank you. Candidates running to be North Carolina's next U.S. Senator are focusing on the state of the economy. It's why Republican candidate Michael Whatley and Democratic candidate Roy Cooper will both be in the triangle today. WRAL's Adley Calabar tells us the main topic they plan to address.
Yeah, it's a big topic right now, and both candidates have focused a lot of their campaigns on economic issues. And today we'll see Republican candidate Michael Whatley and Democratic candidate Roy Cooper speak at separate events in the Triangle. This comes as high gas prices and trade wars have driven up costs. This leaving voters less satisfied with the economy. Whatley said at an event in Cary last week that he's focused on supporting policies that put more money in North Carolinians' pockets. Cooper tackled the issue in Fayetteville earlier this week, focusing on affordability. Cooper leads Whatley by 14 points, according to a recent Catawba College poll. We'll have crews at both of these events. You can see coverage of this on WRAL and WRAL.com. Reporting in Raleigh, Adley Calabar, WRAL News.
For all of our coverage of North Carolina's U.S. Senate race, including stories on recent polls and campaign finance, go to the NC Capitol section of WRAL.com.
Well, right now, the Artemis II crew is headed back to Earth after their mission around the moon. The team is about 146,000 miles from Earth, and their spacecraft is set to make splashdown tomorrow night off the coast of California. Here's NBC's Tom Costello.
Just over 36 hours and counting until the crew of Artemis II is back on Earth. The four astronauts speaking late last night from more than 180,000 miles away, reflecting on some of the incredible moments they've witnessed.
Craters that appeared to just be endless, bottomless pits.
We watched that Earth eclipse behind the moon. Wow, I'm actually getting chills right now.
Their small spacecraft with 4 people on board can feel pretty cramped.
We can't explore deeper unless we are doing a few things that are inconvenient, unless we're making a few sacrifices, unless we're taking a few risks. And those things are all worth it.
As they ready Orion for re-entry, a team in California has been rehearsing the recovery operations. The USS John P. Murtha now approaching the splashdown zone in the Pacific off the coast of San Diego. Dr. Jesse Wang is the lead medical. His team will be the first to make contact with the crew.
We will enter the capsule, make sure the astronauts are okay, render medical aid as necessary, and extract them from the capsule.
NASA says it will also have multiple aircraft tracking Orion's 13-minute re-entry journey that starts roughly 75 miles above the Earth's surface. After separating and entering the atmosphere, Orion will top speeds of 20,000 miles per hour, temporarily losing comms as plasma intensifies around the capsule before parachutes deploy, allowing for a soft landing in the Pacific.
And when the mission goes well, it can look like flying to the moon is easy. It certainly is not.
And while many on Earth have been awestruck by the incredible photos, the astronauts say they're grateful to offer a perspective that's become a mission mantra for NASA: moon joy.
For just a moment, have the world pause and remember that this is a beautiful planet in a very special place in our universe, and we should all cherish what we have been gifted.
Yeah, only got the one, right? Well, you can find all our coverage of the Artemis II mission on the WRAL YouTube channel. We have a live stream of the mission, and it's going to stay up until the team returns home tomorrow. You can watch that NBC special report tomorrow night on WRAL.
A fragile ceasefire in the Iran war was barely holding today under the weight of Israel's bombardment of Beirut. Iran continues to tightly control the Strait of Hormuz, and there's uncertainty over whether talks on Saturday can find common ground. NBC's Matt Bradley reports from Tel Aviv.
Well, it's day 2 of that ceasefire, and I'm here on the beach in Tel Aviv where folks are out enjoying the sun, celebrating a ceasefire that they hope will spare them from the repeated airstrikes that we've been seeing over the past couple of weeks. But those attacks are continuing. Hezbollah has launched more missiles from southern Lebanon into northern Israel just this morning, and Israel's blistering attacks against Hezbollah in Lebanon are continuing. At least 10 people were killed just this morning alone, according to Lebanese health officials. And now we're seeing more than 1,500 people have been killed since the fighting began in southern Lebanon. Yesterday, Israel said they launched their most powerful strikes yet against what they said were Hezbollah targets in southern Lebanon, Beirut, and the eastern Bekaa Valley. That has resulted in many, many deaths and a huge exodus of people fleeing from southern Lebanon. But this fighting in Lebanon is really the biggest risk to this tenuous ceasefire that is now halting the guns over here in Israel. The problem is that the Iranians have said that as long as Israel continues to attack Lebanon, they're going to keep the Strait of Hormuz shut. All of this as we're seeing J.D. Vance and other American diplomats headed to Pakistan to try to negotiate a resolution to this continuing conflict and to make this ceasefire more permanent. Right now, the main risk is that the ceasefire won't exist at all. Matt Bradley, NBC News, Tel Aviv.
In addition to gasoline prices, the war in Iran is also having a significant impact on the fluoride market. People in the D.C. area can expect a drop in their fluoride levels in their water supply, but it's a temporary reduction that's coming during a time when there's a nationwide supply chain issue with this mineral. There are workarounds, though, for patients at high risk of tooth decay.
Fluoride in a prescription strength form. It might be a totally different product like a hydroxyapatite and specialized prescription toothpaste. That may be helpful.
Fluoride is not mandated by federal or state regulators. However, leading health organizations endorse it because it strengthens teeth.
The Stanley Cup playoffs are almost here, and less than 10 minutes ago, tickets went on sale at Lenovo Center. We're going to take you back to last Tuesday night when Jacob Slavin's overtime goal clinched the division for the Canes. Now we are looking ahead to home ice advantage for the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. The Canes have made the playoffs for the past 8 years. They'll be vying for their second Stanley Cup win. Their first win was 20 years ago, back in 2006.
Next at noon, American missing in Bahamas. The arrest recently made as investigators try to figure out how the woman vanished.
Diddy denies doing it. Why Sean Combs' legal team says his prostitution-related conviction is bogus.
Plus, staffing cuts considered, where the Chapel Hill Carborough City School District could make cuts among personnel.
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
Investigators say there's a recovery operation happening right now in the case of an American woman missing in the Bahamas. The 55-year-old was sailing with her husband when he says she fell overboard and vanished. NBC's George Solis shares new information about an arrest.
Authorities now calling this a criminal investigation. A lawyer for the husband confirming to us that Brian Hooker has been arrested in connection with the disappearance of his wife, Lynette Hooker. And it all comes after we spoke with the missing woman's daughter, who has raised questions about the relationship between her mother and stepfather. The Royal Bahamas Police Force announcing the arrest of a man in his 50s yesterday, but not identifying an individual. The search presumably still going on. Authorities saying this has been a search and rescue mission from the get-go here. Conditions here in the Bahamas have been somewhat treacherous here over the last several days. You might be able to see some of the waves crashing behind me, but authorities here saying they have used assets even from the U.S. Coast Guard to help them in the search, as far as air support and even divers in the water here. Brian Hooker, for his part, releasing a statement saying he is heartbroken that his sole focus has been on finding his wife, Lynette. And again, after speaking with Carly Aylesworth, Lynette's daughter, she has raised some questions about the couple's past, saying that her mother and stepfather had a volatile relationship in the past.
And that was George Solis reporting. Lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs returned to court today to argue for his release. Combs is serving 50 months in prison after being convicted last summer on prostitution-related charges. His lawyers say he was simply engaging in voyeurism and amateur porn, which they argue is protected by the First Amendment. His lawyers also argue that people convicted of similar crimes only received sentences of 15 months.
The Army nearly doubled charges against a Fort Hood gynecologist. Dr. Blaine McGraw was initially charged in December with indecent visual recording, among other charges. Well, McGraw now faces sexual assault and abuse, attempted sexual assault, and secretly filming. One person says she was recorded at a residence off post, and the number of specifics of reported cases against him rose from 54 to 146. He remains in jail at last check. The first American to summit Mount Everest has died. You know that this person accomplished this feat in 1963. This is his photo right here. He died in his home in Washington State at 97. Whitaker shared world-class climber status with his identical twin, Lou, and he led the first American expedition to scale Mount Everest's north face. Lou Whitaker died in 2024 at age 95.
A new study shows climate change is putting the emperor penguin and Antarctic fur seal towards extinction. The International Union for the Conservation of Nature says warming ocean waters and melting sea ice are playing a role in this. They also don't have access to food to be able to live. Researchers say seasonal sea ice in the Antarctic has significantly fallen since 2016. We are getting ready for some weather whiplash here. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner with our up and down temperatures. It's going to finally feel more like spring and then a big warm up after that.
Yes, we are looking at temperatures climbing up to nearly 90 degrees by the middle of this coming week. Of course, one thing that happens as we're gearing up for some hotter temperatures is a look at what some of the hurricane seasonal forecasts can be. We see one of those that comes from NOAA, from the National Hurricane Center, and one that comes from NC State University. And interestingly enough, one that comes from Colorado State University. I've always thought that was interesting that they had a department there in Colorado that studied hurricanes. But of course, they are fascinating storms, that's for sure. And they put out a forecast every year. A lot of these forecasts are updated multiple times as we get between now and the season, and then often during the season as well. So for now, Colorado State University is forecasting 13 named storms. The average is 14. This is going to be a below average forecast from Colorado State. 6 hurricanes and the average is 7, 2 major hurricanes and the average is 3. So several reasons for that. We're looking at a different pattern that we saw last time, and ocean sea surface temperatures maybe a little bit lower than they were last year when we had a fairly active season. We had 13 named storms, 5 hurricanes, 4 major hurricanes, 4 named storms made landfall. So it was an active season, but it was not an above average season. You can see where all of the hurricane tracks were. Chantal was the one that affected us here in the Triangle with so much heavy rain there across parts of Chapel Hill and Durham. Folks are still trying to recover from that now. This is a live look at downtown Raleigh as we look at all the beautiful leaves. The trees have all leafed out now. We take a look down Fayetteville Street from our Jimmy V camera, and we're looking at a good bit of sunshine. 55 degrees, so is our temperature. It's really cool out there. Our winds are out of the north at 5, and as we see our winds shifting tomorrow, our temperatures will begin to climb. Temperatures are mostly in the 50s across the region there right now. 54 in Durham, 54 Garner, 56 in Apex, and 58 degrees in Clayton. We should climb into the upper 60s this afternoon with lots of sunshine, and in Fayetteville up to around 71. Of course, our pollen count is still high, but we're not seeing as much of that yellow pine pollen as we did a couple of weeks ago. We're still seeing oak, birch, and maple, which are high allergens to people, and so I know people are still suffering from this. It was a cold start this morning. At the beginning of the newscast, we talked about the fact that our temperatures were down near freezing in many places. We start to see the warm air pushing in. We'll really feel it by Saturday and Sunday and into next week. All this warmth pushes in and our temperatures will climb up above normal. Our normal low is 47, we'll be at 42 tomorrow, about 10 degrees warmer than this morning, but you can see where we're headed with those warm temperatures. And this is about the time that we see our last freeze of the season. It averages between April 1st and the 11th for most of our viewing area, so we're on track. Looking at the weekend, big warm up in store, 76 for tomorrow and then 82 on Saturday and Sunday. By the time we get to the middle of next week, we could see a high temperature of nearly 90 degrees. We also had the drought monitor come out, and it wasn't great news. We don't have any rain in our forecast for the next 7 days. I'll show you how long it could be and what the drought monitor looks like coming up.
Elizabeth, thanks. Coming up this evening, arrest made. The man accused of leaving the scene at a shooting at Triangle Town Center, leading police on a chase and causing a crash, is in court today. We are bringing you what we learn at 4.
And then at 5 o'clock, Renee, invasive ants. Why Asian needle ants are spreading, what you should look for, and what to do if you get stung.
Rolling into the Triangle. Next on this newscast, driving the future forward, the advanced technology and new plans underway to bring self-driving cars to Raleigh.
And problematic pillow. Why it's so important to have a good pillow, just as you would with a mattress. Hear from an expert coming up in just a second. With driverless cars set to show up in Charlotte, we're looking into whether they could actually come to Raleigh and what that would mean for us. 5 on your side's Alex Littlehales found out what's driving the conversation and how the technology is getting closer to home.
The conversation starts here at an empty field on Kinley Street, just south of downtown Raleigh. The city has approved the application for an underground parking deck in the upcoming Gateway District development. What makes this parking deck different than the other ones? Well, this project would be a first of its kind in the city of Raleigh. The company taking over the project, a company called Auto Park It. Their main product, an automated garage system. The system is like a kiosk. It works for any car, including ones without a driver. WRAL spoke to Auto Park It's CEO, who said while the system can handle autonomous vehicles. Does it currently have projects in the U.S. that house autonomous driving?
So we have projects in the U.S. that are capable of housing autonomous cars. However, we do not have a contract yet with any of the autonomous vehicle companies to house their cars. We would like to.
This parking project comes as Charlotte is bracing for Waymo to hit the streets there, one of the 19 expansion cities for the autonomous car company. Tonight on WRAL News at 6, what Waymo says about its future here and the concerns from other cities where it's already operating. Alex Littlehales, WRAL News.
Hey, just a heads up, procrastinators, if you haven't filed your taxes yet, you have less than a week to get it done. Here are some things you should know that might help you. First, you can file for an automatic 6-month extension, but that's only for filing. You still have to pay what you owe by April 15th or face penalties. Experts say you should resist the temptation to use AI to speed up this process. Plus, the IRS also has an interactive tax assistant that can help answer last-minute questions.
Coca-Cola is honoring the 250th birthday of America with specialized collectible mini cans. The beverage company is producing cans with unique designs for all 50 states, plus Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. Customers can also scan the product to be entered into giveaway contests, including one for a new Jeep. The cans will be sold at major retailers starting this month, and custom bottles are also in the works. You see Maryland, Virginia, D.C. I want to see NC.
I was about to say.
NC? Okay.
We want to see the NC, Coke. All right, so your time right now is 12:25. A new technology is actually saving lives. Next, how a new video system managed to protect firefighters during a house fire and help them when time matters most.
Life Flight Basics. Coming up, how Durham early college students are getting real-world experience in healthcare. And here's a look at your winning North Carolina Education Lottery numbers. We'll be right back.
Live from WRAL News headquarters in Raleigh, your #1 source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
Parents are giving their thoughts about the budget proposal for Wake County schools.
And the reason is the superintendent's plan is calling for cutting millions of dollars in the next school year. Parents spoke at last night's input session with the school board. Board Chair Tyler Swanson says cuts are almost certain next year. He says they are driven by rising costs, the lack of a state budget, and other elements as well. In fact, similar cuts may be coming to Chapel Hill Carrboro City Schools. The board there is meeting tonight to discuss possible slashes to staffing. WRAL's Kirsten Clark explains what's at stake for teachers, students, and families too.
The district is facing declining enrollment, and that's because of competition with private and charter schools, dropping birth rates, and families simply moving out of the district. Superintendent Rodney Trice recommends cutting 23 staff positions, including 17 central admin and leadership roles. Those cuts aim to save between $1.5 and $2 million annually. School officials say they are exploring options to place impacted employees in other open roles within Chapel Hill Carrboro City Schools. A discussion about school closures is not on the agenda for tonight's work session, but it will still likely come up. The board will receive a presentation from Carolina Demography about student enrollment projections for the next 10 years. Their data shows that Chapel Hill Carrboro City Schools have lost 1,500 students since 2020. They're projected to lose nearly 1,000 students in the next 3 to 5 years, with an additional decline of more than 600 students by 2036. The school board uses that data to make both short-term and long-term decisions. That work session is at the Lincoln Center tonight at 6 o'clock. We, of course, will keep you updated on what happens. In Chapel Hill, Kirsten Clark, WRAL News.
Right now, you can give UNC student newspaper feedback as it renews its apologies for an April Fool's joke. The Daily Tar Heel published a long-form response dissecting the satirical edition that fell flat on readers. The April Fool's paper included articles on topics like ICE, immigration, and campus tensions that the paper says were meant to critique power. However, the paper's editor-in-chief published a statement acknowledging that the April Fool's edition made marginalized communities feel mocked. The Daily Tar Heel holds an anonymous survey every semester to receive audience feedback. That survey is now live on their website.
In Virginia, video technology used by 911 dispatchers saved firefighters significant time during a house fire. As Taylor Locke reports, it's helping first responders make key decisions before they even arrive on scene.
Are you on Midlothian Turnpike going eastbound or westbound?
In emergencies, every minute matters.
What kind of car is involved?
In Chesterfield, newer technology is helping first responders save time by giving them a clearer picture of what they're walking into before they get there. Calls like this one to this home on Hawkinswood Circle. This fire broke out at around 11:15 Monday morning, leaving a family with nothing but these American and military flags. First responders were able to return to the homeowner, but the person who called 911 used something called Prepared 911.
They were able to send the link to the initial 911 caller. That caller was able to click on the link, use the link, provide us video before we even arrived, so we knew what units to make sure that we sent.
Assistant Fire Chief John Boatwright said that live video helped them call for a second alarm quickly, helping protect neighboring homes. 911 operators in the county rolled out Prepared 911 in 2024. It allows dispatchers and first responders to see what's happening in real time. For this fire, Boatwright says it saved them 5 minutes. And in any emergency, 5 minutes can make all the difference.
As you know, Chesterfield County covers a large area, and the only place we can make up time is turnout time. We can't make it up on the road. 5 miles is 5 miles, but if we can get out of the station quicker and alert it quicker, we're going to save time and get more help to the scene.
And in this case, those extra minutes helped shape the response before the first truck ever pulled up.
And the community helped raise roughly $20,000 for the family affected.
Some Durham ninth graders are getting real-world experience toward their future careers in healthcare. Students from Durham Early College of Health Sciences visited Duke Regional Hospital, and they tried on gear and explored the Duke Life Flight ambulance, which is linked to an intensive care unit. It's like an intensive care unit on wheels.
So that's our clear shield. So like when you get in someone's face and you're looking like in their airway and they could be spitting up blood and throwing up in your face, this gives you a layer of protection.
Most of our patients aren't purely cardiac.
The students also visited different units inside the hospital, including surgery, cardiology, and inpatient rehab. Upon graduation, qualified students will have immediate opportunities for jobs at Duke Health. The next class of incoming students will celebrate their acceptance into the early college with a sports-like signing day event at Duke on April 20th.
Very cool. All right, getting more restful sleep. The key may be a new pillow. We'll explain an easy way to test if you need to replace your pillow.
Plus, a cure is on the line. A little later, find out how you can support people living with MS and be part of the journey to find a cure. Remember, you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device.
It sure is a beautiful afternoon as we take a live look at Rocky Mount Mills, where we see a mix of sun and clouds, but the sunshine's really winning out there. You're watching WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device. The U.S. fertility rate is at a record low. According to the CDC, 3.6 million babies were born last year. That's down roughly 20% from 20 years ago. Statistics show that American women also are waiting longer to have children. A decline in the fertility rate can affect the economy in the long term. The Trump administration is using policies to try and encourage more people to have children. Google is updating its Gemini platform to help those who may be struggling with their mental health. Google plans to add a system to direct users to mental health and crisis hotline resources when they feel they may harm themselves. Google also says it plans to invest millions of dollars over the next 3 years into global crisis hotlines. There will also be a help is available tool when people are talking about mental health.
Experts say having a good pillow is as important as having a good mattress. Most of them usually need to be replaced within about a year or two. That's because the material tends to give out after a while and you're not getting the same support as you once did. So if you're not sure whether your pillow is old, or maybe consider how it feels, maybe it's a little lumpy or even has a dent when your head is on it.
If your pillow is not really supporting your body, your head very well, that can cause muscle tension and can cause those muscle fibers in your neck and your shoulders to be stretched or placed in an awkward position. And that can even cause like a headache in the morning, like a muscle tension headache. And it can go against what you're trying to do of getting good rest.
Make sure you have a good pillow. There is a tried and true way, of course, to find out if you need a new pillow. If you fold it together and it bounces back, all right, good. But if it stays folded or goes flat, probably time to try to get a new one.
I'm definitely going to test that out. I think I'm overdue for a new pillow. Crowded capsule. The Artemis 2 crew describes conditions on the spacecraft as they make their way back to Earth.
Plus, raising awareness. Walk MS returns to Raleigh this month. We're going to hear from an event organizer about how you can help raise money for a cure.
And welcome back. No one should face multiple sclerosis alone, and because of your support, no one has to. Walk MS Raleigh returns this year on April 18th, giving people an opportunity to change the world for people living with MS. And joining us to talk about the autoimmune disease and how you can raise money for a cure is Lauren Ross. She's the prevalent is it? How many cases are diagnosed each year?
Yes, there are about 1 million cases across the United States diagnosed each year.
And then even in North Carolina, do you
Yes,
the number of
there's
cases?
probably, I think maybe around 50,000 cases here in North Carolina.
Oh my gosh, it's significant. And for people who are not familiar with the disease, what is that like? What's the quality of life for people who have MS?
Yes, it affects their central nervous system, so the way people talk, they walk. Optic neuritis is a common symptom, so eye vision. I've met many people who go limp on one side of their body, and that's what leads them to go to the doctor to get checked out.
And this is a chronic disease, no cure, and that's why you have Walk MS for Raleigh to raise money for a cure, right? Yes. What does the walk mean for you?
Yes.
Why is it so important for you?
The walk is important to me because it brings together all of the community. We really support our participants who are living with MS, and it helps provide research for MS, as well as our local support groups, our MS Navigator program, and it really just brings a community together when you might feel alone, that we're all here behind you.
Really, the event is also a celebration of all the people and supporters and families, right? And this year, it will be at Perimeter Park in Morrisville. So tell us how people can take part. Tell us about the route options for the walk.
Yes, of course. So as you mentioned, we're at Perimeter Park on April 18th, next Saturday. There's a 1 mile route. There's also a 3 mile route. And you can sign up on walkms.org. We also will have a dog zone. We love our furry friends, so bring them on out. We'll have some activities for the kids. We have great sponsors, local sponsors coming out, and we would love to see anyone, or if you would love to volunteer, there's also volunteer opportunities on our website.
Very family-friendly event and to support the big family of people living with MS. Share a little bit about the circles of support, if you can.
Yes. So we say that we are all the circles of support. So somebody living with MS is an orange circle. They're really why we're there that day. And then their friends and family surround them, as well as their neurologists, nurses. We all come together to be part of their circle, and they are the center of it, and they're why we do everything that we do.
So if you want to be part of that circle, we'll tell you how right now. Walk MS Raleigh takes place next Saturday. That's April 18th. It will be at Perimeter Park in Morrisville. The site opens at 8, followed by the opening ceremony at 9:20, and the walk begins promptly at 9:30. Of course, in April, we'll see how the weather is, but we're fingers crossed that it'll be a great turnout and great weather for you. And thanks for all the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
For people living with MS.
Thanks.
Thanks, Lauren.
Well, Artemis 2 is in the home stretch of its 10-day mission, and Orion is expected to splash down in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of San Diego tomorrow evening. Last night, the quartet shared some of the highlights of their mission. NC State graduate Christina Cook compared it to a relay race as they constantly keep the next team in mind, thinking about ways they can make traveling through space easier. She also talked about what it's like to live in the Orion capsule.
Yes, we are bumping into each other 100% of the time. A phrase that you often hear in the cabin is, don't move your foot. I'm just going to reach for something right under it. Or, can I get there? And my goal is to get over there. And we're constantly moving around, whether it's to complete a task, to just eat, to look out the window, to take a picture. Everything we do in here is a 4-person activity.
So basically, they get extra friendly up there. Well, you can watch Artemis 2 return to Earth tomorrow on WRAL and the WRAL YouTube channel. Coverage begins at 8 p.m. Now, the cool thing about us being, I don't have to stand right next to Elizabeth here at the pit when we're doing weather. I could just be nice and far here. We could if we wanted to, but then we couldn't see the beautiful Pinehurst and all the people right now out golfing right now.
Don't you love Christina Cook? I mean,
she is awesome.
She tells it like it is.
She does.
I mean, just a little snippet of what it's really like to live in that environment. So yeah, hats off to all of them. Can't wait to hear more from them when they get back. Of course, everybody's enjoying a little golf out there. Definitely a jackets day. I don't see a whole lot of, there's somebody in shorts and t-shirt, but it's chilly out there. 55 degrees currently in the Triangle. That northerly wind is keeping us on the cooler side today, but we begin our warm up tomorrow. We're going to see our winds shifting to southerly, and it starts our warm up. This afternoon, we could climb all the way up into the upper 60s. So it's a great afternoon to get outside if you really have some intense exercise you wanted to do outside. It's not going to be too hot, getting yard work done, that sort of thing. I wouldn't wait until early next week because it is going to be hot by then. Pretty comfortable for the weekend, though. Tomorrow we climb to 76, and then Saturday and Sunday, high of 82. We are nice and dry, but that nice, and dry maybe just doesn't continue to go together. We really need some rain. Here's what's going to happen instead. We have our next cold front, which is back to the west, but a big area of high pressure is sitting over us right now, and that high is going to force everything up to the north, keep all the cooler air up there, and keep the precipitation there as well. As the high settles a little farther to the south, it's going to switch our winds to more southerly. You can see some rain on Friday night to our north, but of course that high is just going to sit there and just really not going to let it move much farther south. So we're going to end up dry all the way through the weekend. It'll be a very comfortable weekend. We really don't have any rain in the forecast until potentially the end of next week. So more than a week away. We'll be watching some of these systems, but most of what heads our way will bump up into that high pressure system, and it's just going to act as a blocker for us. And of course, we've continued to see this pattern for months on end. Really, September was the time we started to work our way into the drought. And today, the new drought monitor came out, and notice pretty much our entire viewing area, minus a tiny little sliver of Moore County, is under severe drought. We also saw the extreme drought expanded. It was already across parts of Nash, Edgecombe, in Halifax County. Now it's all of Halifax County and parts of Warren and Northampton counties as well. So it's not what we want to see, but it's not unexpected because it just continues to be so dry. In the last 30 days, we've seen anywhere from about 38 to about 65% of our normal rainfall. And we just keep seeing that month after month. And so it's just going to take a big turnaround in our weather pattern for us to get out of it. And of course, we are under a statewide burn ban right now. On the flip side, though, it's going to be a very comfortable weekend to be outside. 87, though, by Tuesday and 89 on Wednesday. If we tip it 1 more degree to 90, it'll be our first 90-degree day of the year at RDU.
Pews at the ballpark, a limited edition hat for only the most devout fans. How White Sox fans can get their hands on this exclusive hat. You probably know what inspired it.
Don't tell my dad, he's a big White Sox fan. And here's a look at your winning Powerball numbers here on your screen. 3, 16, 17, 42, 52. The Powerball's 3 and the Power Play multipliers 2. As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines that we're following today. In fact, in the next 30 minutes, a Raleigh child care worker charged with fracturing a child's leg will appear in court. 24-year-old Ashley Torres is charged with felony neglect of child abuse with serious bodily injury, and this happened at a KinderCare daycare center. Arrest warrants say back in August, Torres placed a child in crisscross applesauce position, as they say, and it caused a leg fracture.
2 people are in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries after a Go Raleigh bus hit a tree. Sky 5 flew over the scene just after 10:30 this morning. This was at Park Lake Avenue and Edwards Mill Road. 5 people were on the bus at the time. Police are investigating what happened.
We are staying on top of a large scene that is on Pole Road. Sky 5 was above that area around 9 this morning. Fire trucks were outside a home that had smoke rising from it, and we're trying to learn more about that situation, if anyone was inside the home and if anyone was injured.
If you are praying for the White Sox to win the World Series, you have some big league support. The first American pontiff was born in Chicago in 1955. Of course, we're talking about Pope Leo. He's a lifelong White Sox fan, and now the team is celebrating his support by giving out these White Sox-themed papal hats to certain fans. The hats feature the team logo in the center rather than a cross. Now, to receive this special Pope hat, fans must purchase a special package for the August 11th game. And that's when the Sox take on their rivals from the 1919 World Series, the Cincinnati Reds.
And Renee, the last time they won the World Series was 2005, so perhaps a miracle is needed. Well, our pet of the day was found abandoned in a plastic storage bin a little more than a year ago, and now she just needs a family who can commit to her and give her love. May is a 2-year-old cat from the SPCA of Wake County. She's been returned twice, though no fault of her own, though. Things such as family members moving and having allergies, these are things that are the result of this. You can contact the SPCA of Wake County if you think that she would make a great addition to your home.
NBC News Daily is next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
And remember, you can always get your breaking news updates with the WRAL News app. Hope you have a blessed day today.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air channel 34 and Spectrum channel 1257.